Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn. This is Jason.
And this is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day, actually, it's a new month. It's February 2024. Last month we did rom-coms. Cuffing season is what I called it. Want to stay cuddling with somebody. This month is Black History Month, so we're doing all black movies. And the first one to kick that off is Do the Right Thing from 1989, directed by Spike Lee. It is almost 40. If you haven't seen it, still
Crazy.
give you a spoiler warning, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, and we like to kind of start off with a summary of the film, so I'll kind of go into it. Do the Right Thing is a 1989 film by Spike Lee that explores the racial tensions and conflicts in a Brooklyn neighborhood on a hot summer day. The film follows Mookie, a pizza delivery man who works for Sal, an Italian American pizzeria owner. Sal's Wall of Fame, which displays only white celebrities, sparks a protest by bugging out a black activist who demands more representation for the black community. As the day progresses, the temperature and the animosity rises, leading to a violent conflict between Sal, his sons, and Radio Raheem, a black
Radio.
youth who blasts "Fight the Power" on his boombox. The police arrive and kill Radio Raheem, sparking a riot that destroys Sal's pizzeria. Mookie throws a trash can through the window, igniting the fire. The next day, Mookie and Sal have a tense but civil conversation where Sal pays Mookie his wages and Mookie leaves. The film ends with two contrasting quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X on the use of violence as a means of social change, followed by a dedication to the victims of police brutality. Which is that last sentence is very poignant because I
Yeah.
think that was like kind of like a, a nice send off to this film and two contrasting views of
Yeah.
violence, and it's sad because this movie is very
40 years old.
relatable
Yeah, and it's still
and it's
happening.
still the same conversations that we're having,
Yeah.
still the same conflicts and still the same violence that we experience, which is almost shocking. But
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
think with this film?
So I enjoyed it. For whatever reason, growing up, I never watched this. Like I watched every other black movie as I was kind of growing into my teenage years. This was one that kind of missed. I would see it. Like I knew of Do the Right Thing, um, and a couple other Spike Lee movies. I don't know why I'm blanking on them right now, but I just never watched them. So I'm happy that we decided to make this month Black History or Black Movie Month, and this was the one to kick it off because, like you said, this is perfect for the times. Things like this are still occurring all the time, all over the U.S.,
Probably
if not the
just
world.
yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this was like perfect timing, and yeah, I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
I Funny enough, I don't know, it's not funny probably, but I loved this film, and this is a very well done in terms of cinematography,
Yeah, that
the
was beautiful.
color
Hmm.
of the movie, the characters were amazing, the way each shot, the like how it looks, how the story plays out, how the story ends, and the general message of the story. This is, I think, a beautiful movie, and it's probably something that like I it is part of the Criterion Collection, and I think I know why now. I love the Criterion Collection, but this is it's a very kind of like good way to kind of start off this month in terms of like watching black prominent movies and stuff,
Yeah,
and the subject matter sucks and everything because it's
yeah.
and I think it's a very common story, and it can get it sucks for black people to be like, this is like, yeah, this happens all the time and everything.
Hmm.
Like, this is a story that, do we need to tell people about this story? No. It happens just yesterday probably,
Yeah, but
but
it's a wake up call too.
I think
And
so.
so I was kind of, as I was watching it, I was wondering how impactful. I'm guessing it was extremely impactful when this came out because it's still something that's talked about and it's in the Criterion Collection. It's probably studied in film schools. Um, but yeah, I just wonder how impactful it was when it came out at that point.
Yeah, I wonder. I even today, like, I wonder if they re-release this movie. I wonder if Spike Lee has ever thought, like, Spike Lee's probably like, I made this freaking movie 40 years ago, and this movie can be released today, and people would be like,
And people
"Oh
like,
God,
this
this does not
stopped
happen."
my
White people
heart.
out there be like, "This does not happen."
This doesn't occur anymore.
but I think it's like what's good about it, because it's like it's a big middle finger to racism
Yeah,
and how people react to racism. But I think it's done in a way where you're like almost like this is like wizardry, where like you're showing people the conflicts of racism and the violent outcomes of racism, but in a way you're like, this is a very good movie, like
yeah. Like it
like
plays out very like smooth. You're not you see the tension in the beginning, but you're kind of eased into just how chaotic it gets at the end.
right. I love, like, you always talk about pacing. I think
Hmm.
this is where, like, I believed where I understood pacing,
Yeah.
because there's that ebb and flow where like it starts off where like everyone just sucks, like everyone just hates that it's freaking hot, and
Yeah.
then it goes on with the day because everyone's like, I have to get along with the day. You can tell everyone had their coffee and just going along with the day.
Everybody
And
had
then
a cold shower too. Everybody
or
cools
or
down
a
a little
cold
bit.
shower just to
Yeah.
like, or you just sit in front of your fan and stuff. But then you notice in the middle of the movie, it's probably the hottest point of the day when
Hmm.
everyone is like, I'm done with this. And just they're just like, you can tell everyone's energy level gets really low. The drunk dude's asleep. All the dudes that are like talking a bunch of crap and everything, playing basketball, are just like
Yeah.
hanging out. Like, I just want to like do
This day needs
nothing.
to be over. Yeah.
And then it gets to nighttime and everyone's just like, just wired by the fact that it's been super hot and now it's cooling down a little bit and
Yeah.
everything, and so everyone kind of like gets more lively, and I was like, man, this is like mastery from Spike Lee.
I kind of felt that shift, I guess, in twofolds. I felt that shift when the officers were introduced that first time, like
Mm-hmm.
when the kids and everybody were playing with the fire hydrant, and that that Italian guy was like, "You better not whip my car." That moment was kind of that shift for me. Once the police came over and they were like, "Dude, don't even worry about it. Like, just keep moving." And then also when the interaction in Sal's with Radio Raheem, that also
The
felt
first
like a
interaction,
shift. The first
when he
interaction,
when he
yes,
shows up with, but he
with
still
the
gets his
radio
food
blasting,
and
yeah,
everything, he ends up turning it off and all that stuff. Yeah.
that felt like a shift.
Yeah, I was very poignant to also use a hot summer day
Yeah,
as the representation of like
the
the
tension.
the powder keg that is like
Hmm.
slowly building and stuff, or like, or boiling water that's like slowly getting up to temperature, and you
Yeah.
feel it where it's like there's that kind of like breaking point that's going to happen,
Hmm.
and then eventually it does happen at the end, and it's like, man, I don't know how people don't talk. I guess like people talk about this movie quite a bit, but like in terms of like, this is, I think, and it's almost amazing that like Spike Lee wrote, directed,
Yeah,
produced, and also
starred in
pretty
it.
much starred in it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that man was in every damn scene. It felt like.
Yeah, so it's like it's amazing to have someone that like like we always talk about like Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah,
um, and all these other
Christopher
directors and stuff.
Nolan.
And I
Yeah,
think Spike Lee should be, if you want to kind of use the Mount Rushmore kind of like, and this is one movie. And I don't know about the
yeah,
other movies and stuff, but like I think this kind of places Spike Lee in like this kind of like, whoa, like this guy knows how to do a movie. And
yeah.
yeah, you see like Christopher Nolan, like everyone looks at Christopher Nolan like, oh yeah, like that guy knows how to do a movie. He doesn't know how
Yeah,
to do sound sometimes, but Spike Lee is also someone that you should like understand that that guy knows how to do a movie and
yeah.
knows how to
Like
tell a story.
everything fit. I
Hmm.
forgot. I don't know why I blanked on his movies, but She's Gotta Have It is one. They turned that into a Netflix series a couple years ago. My favorite still to this day is Kobe Doing Work, which most people don't know about. He made
Oh,
like a 40-minute documentary of Kobe Bryant playing in MSG in like ooh, was that 2012, 20, maybe 20, maybe '05. It was, yeah, 2000s. That was my introduction. I knew of Spike Lee, but my introduction to a Spike Lee film was that doc, which I still
I'm gonna have
love.
to watch that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where you can, it's got to be somewhere to stream, but that was a great one. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he gets his just due. Like in the black community, we all know about his films, but in the greater like, Mount Rushmore of it, it doesn't seem like he's on that. Like, you have the Tarantinos, the Nolans, the Scorseses that are up there, but Spike doing damn near everything for this film and probably his other films. He's just like he's on the side. Like he's part of Mount Rushmore, but he's over on the side a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think this movie, it should be seen as like a very good kind of like viewing of like how to make a movie that's
Hmm.
cinematic. Like I think cinematography is like a word that some people can't define or understand. What does cinematography mean?
Yeah.
In this movie, I feel like this, like he almost has like a Broadway esque to some of the shots where like there was a shot that I saw where like the drunk dude was talking to that woman he was trying to
Oh
what was her
yeah,
name, mother
the
sister.
lady on the stoop. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was talking to her and it was nighttime, but it was a very close up shot to him, to his face, but then the background you just saw a silhouette of the city, of
Hmm.
basically the buildings behind him. And if for some reason I kind of got like a very Broadway kind of play kind of feeling from that. And then you have like the interactions like when Spike Lee's character like first talks to Radio Raheem,
Hmm.
and then Radio Raheem kind of like shows like what he
Shows the
has
rings.
on his fist and everything, but it's very close up, and it's like
Hmm.
you have these very distinct conversations between the characters, and you know that that's like a little like bubble around them because like the way he uses the camera, the way he kind of like goes to one person and then shifts to the other one, the editing I think is like amazing with this.
I ended up looking up because I was so like enthralled with the framing of the close ups,
Mm-hmm.
and I like looked up like what was how did they shoot this? Because you're most movies and shows they would typically use like a wider lens or a like a 50 millimeter, so you're kind of close, and the image looks somewhat flat. But this was just a wide. You saw everything behind the person, but you were like right in their face. And what Google was saying was that they used like a 16 millimeter lens, and they were really close to the actor or actress. So you're close to them, so you feel them as if you're right next to them, but you're also still getting a view of what's behind them and around them, and it had a
That would have been
different
crazy, like
feel.
having to deal
Yeah,
with that in terms of acting. You're like, you can
you're just like right
just,
there, like don't look at the camera. And you're like, all right, it's right
but
here
my nose
in
is
my
touching
face.
it.
I'm kissing it almost. I had a question for you as I was watching it, because late '80s, I don't know where all of these actors and actresses were in their careers. It seemed like a lot of them were kind of early on.
Yeah,
I wonder if they knew, outside of just doing this film, I wonder if they knew the trajectory of their careers, because we had a young Samuel L. Jackson's never been young. He's like Morgan Freeman, but we had Samuel L. Jackson, Martin Lawrence, um,
John Carlo.
yeah, Gus Fringe, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you would
always forget that
never like.
man's.
Yeah, Patty was like,
Even
"That's John Carlo." I was like, "What?"
yeah, even Sal's son, I always call him very sneaky sir from Mr. Deeds. I always forget that man's name, but he's had a huge career.
his his
Uh,
his TV show, what is it, In the Night or something, that like um that,
oh, that's right, he's in
yeah,
that.
there's like a kind of like, that's a very good TV show in terms of like,
Yeah.
and he does fantastic act. He's
Hmm.
also Falcone in the Batman.
Yeah, and the Batman.
Yeah.
Yes. So like, so many people in this have had huge careers since. So I wonder if they knew the impact like this movie was gonna have, or if they could like envision like, hey, we're making something that's gonna change the views or like change the world. I wonder if they knew that going into this, or if they was just like, hey, this young director writer gave me a script. I need work. Let me do it.
I don't know. Like you hope that they like. I think if like you're in the moment, you probably like, yeah, you're like, this is like gonna be a good movie. But then you hope that like since racial tensions were high during that time,
Hmm.
you're like, I hope they didn't think like, oh, this is just gonna bomb because no one likes black stories, or
Yeah.
no one likes to be told, oh, they're bad people, so to speak, and everything. So, but like, you hope going through it, they're like all like, whoa, this is gonna make a mark because we're
Hmm.
saying a lot of scary things right now. Like
Yeah.
the whole like that whole scene where like they cut to like all the people saying all the racist ass crap about each
Oh yeah.
other person and
Each group.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, that's got to be like when you first saw that in the theaters, you're like, I don't know.
I wasn't ready for this. You didn't warn me for this.
You hope that that they understood that at least the movie was going to be great, whether or not their
Yeah,
like careers will kind of go on. That's them thanking Spike Lee probably
that's
if
true.
they were all
Yeah.
brand new to this. Do you see anything negative to this movie?
The only it's not to the movie. I think it's just to the world of like I can't believe things like this are still occurring 40 years later.
Right? Yeah, there's like all these like, and it's funny because there's like a wide gamut of conversations that happen in this movie that still exists today.
Hmm.
Like the three old dudes sitting around under the umbrella,
Oh,
they
just
were
shooting the
talking about
shit.
global warming and climate change. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
like one's like that's not happening and all this stuff, and then that one's like, no, seriously, like, and this was 40
Yes.
years ago.
Yeah.
And then there's like things about immigration where like they're complaining about the Asian people across the street that they get
Come
like
in.
all this. That's same conversations that most people like. I just saw fucking Elon Musk saying like, oh, like immigrants like get all this like benefits and they're not even Americans and stuff. It's
He's
like,
an immigrant.
yeah, and it's like I like
Come on, dude.
it's like we're all having these like same dumb conversations,
Yes.
and
40 years later.
it's like like we need to know our history to understand how we progress forward,
Yeah.
but we don't need to forget it and stuff. And it's like, yes, we
But it
all
seems like they're
did.
trying to like pull that away or like hide that from us. Like, hey, we're only
Yeah,
going to show the good side of things. We're not going to show like this is the same shit that's been happening for years.
sadly, yeah, you see a lot of people that want to brush things under the rug and stuff.
Under the rug.
And we represent black and brown people,
Hmm.
not necessarily represent all of the black and brown people, but we are not like we are in that minority group and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like we share these stories and stuff when we understand the stories, but it's a weird kind of like, yeah, that is a negative to be like this is happening all the
Like, come on.
time. For me, I can't think of anything negative to the movie.
Hmm.
I believe it looked beautiful and stuff, and I think that goes pointing into like my rating to the movie where I gave it 5 stars, and
Shit.
I think because I think it's a very perfect movie,
Yeah.
um, and maybe it's because like I never seen the movie and I was like enthralled by everything, and maybe a second watch, maybe I'm like, all right, like I can do like a 4 or something, but I believe that this is a movie that anybody and everybody should watch.
Yeah. I gave it a three, 3.5. I enjoyed like the cinematography. I enjoyed the movie altogether. I don't know why I'm such a stickler at times, but I truly enjoyed the movie. I did dislike the fact that Jordans were only $108 back then, and now they're like 200 plus. But
Which is
that's
always funny
Nike. That's
because
my
it's
gripe to
like
Nike.
I was having the conversation with Patty yesterday, where it's like you always like find it funny that like ethnic things that are like popular with ethnic groups are typically like crazy expensive,
Yes,
and which is
and we're
funny.
crazy
Like
enough to spend the
hair
money on it.
products,
Hmm.
things that we need that are like specific to like our
To
hair or like
us,
our
yeah,
like skin tones and stuff are crazy expensive. And it's like, isn't that like another like conversation that we should have? Like, hey, but that's a
hey,
whole different story. But
but it's the truth though.
it is. It's funny,
Yeah,
but
because
uh,
everybody latches onto it. Once we grab a hold of it and we're wearing it or doing it, everybody grabs or everybody wants to be a piece of it.
yeah,
Like
right.
this kind of fits into the conversation of the film. I saw something Friday about a haircut. So in the black community, the black and brown community, matter of fact, we've been getting fade haircut for years. I don't even know when it started, years and years and years. But now an NFL player is rocking a fade, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, people want this haircut from him because he's rocking a fade." And I saw
It's like,
clips from other black creatives, and they were like, "We've been doing that shit for
there's
years.
probably
Like
some
that's
black
not
dude standing
his."
next to him. Like, I have the same haircut.
Yeah, like I told you about the haircut, bro. Like, come on.
You use my
And
barber.
it's yeah, and I don't think it wasn't the football player himself. Like he wasn't the one that was like, "Hey, I started this." It was the
Mhm.
media trying to create this narrative of, "Hey, this guy's rocking this haircut." Now people call it his. It's like, you're
The
tripping.
problem is that no matter what, marketing knows that if you have a different looking person represent something, you will
Yeah,
sell it better.
it's
And
easier.
it's just, and it sucks because we're suckers to be like, oh yeah, like I want to buy that product and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
like that's where the conversation of like community owned businesses and stuff and like small businesses and support them. But we can go on forever and stuff and everything. But in terms of with Do the Right Thing, do you recommend this to anybody, and who would you recommend it
yeah.
to?
I think everybody needs to watch this. Like, I'm mad at myself for taking so long to watch it. I should have
Mm,
watched it years ago, but I'm happy I did watch it now. But I think it's something that everyone should at least watch once, just to see the parallels that we have with 1989. The fact that it's 2024 and we're still going through it's similar, if not the same thing.
right? Yeah, I agree with you. Where it's like it should be on everybody's list to watch at least once and stuff. And I've seen so many random movies growing up through elementary school and high school and stuff, and uh, we should have watched this. Like, why
Yeah,
not watch this? And this is a very like culturally appropriate story, historical story and stuff, and actually a well done movie. So yeah, but we'll leave it at that. All right, Kai, you want to take us out?
yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week with another one. And please let us know if you watched Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee in the comments. If you liked it, disliked it, what'd you think about it? And please like and subscribe to Saturday Night Popcorn for more podcasts like these.